Maintaining fidelity. Now, as many of you know, my life situation changed pretty recently. I got divorced. My divorce attorney is in the room. I'm not talking about marital fidelity here. This is fidelity in a general concept. So, you know, here's what I'm thinking about. Remember this game of telephone that you'd play when you were a kid? Right? So someone says, hey, maybe the blue would work even better than green. Right? And this kind of concept gets told from one person to the next, and it gets passed around, and by the time it gets back to the bottom, the answer is the exact opposite of what he was saying. And what's happened here is every time we say something to somebody else, we lose a little bit of fidelity of that information. It degrades. Now, if you're sitting right next to someone and you really know them well and you're talking about something simple, that loss of fidelity is very small. But if you get complicated, if you don't know the person, if there's distance, if there's time that's intermediating between these things, then the loss of fidelity can be pretty dramatic. And there's an easy way to fix it. Like, that's a sticky note. Right? You just write it down, and then you just pass it to the next person and pass it to the next person, and she gets it, and she goes, oh, that's an interesting idea. And you don't even need those other two. Right? And there's been zero loss of fidelity. I'm not suggesting we do everything with sticky notes. Okay? But capturing information effectively and transmitting that information effectively is a way to mitigate the loss of fidelity. Okay? Here's another example. Bouncing a ball, right? Every time it bounces a little bit lower. How come? What's that? Physics, gravity, it's lost energy, okay? In other words, it'll be rolling and then it'll stop, right? If you want to keep a ball bouncing at the same height on a regular basis, you have to dribble it. You have to add energy, right? And that's what this kid is doing. And if he's doing it correctly, then the ball keeps going at the same level. And by the way, it doesn't take a lot of energy, right? It's a small amount. And you know, it does have to be applied at the right time. If you've ever seen a little kid learning how to dribble and they push it at the wrong time and it just kills it. But if you apply a small amount of energy at the right time in a process, then that process can maintain fidelity over a long period of time. Okay? So this is what we think of when we think about certain things in an organization. So here's an example, right? Let's say this was a room full of salespeople, right? And I was giving my sales pitch, and I said, listen, you guys all have supervisors, and your supervisors are awesome. And you know, I want you to meet with your supervisor once a month and go through all your prospects, all your debt accounts. I want you to talk about our new products, and I want you to talk about your performance plan that you came up with at the beginning of the year. And everybody would be like, yeah, that's awesome. Let's do that. You know, it makes a lot of sense. And of course, immediately the fidelity would start dropping because people wouldn't remember to do it. They wouldn't remember what to talk about. It would just kind of go out the window. And we'd be here the next year and I'd be telling you the same thing. So how do we apply these principles using our system to have good meetings? The first is the sticky notes. Right? We have this thing called structured meetings, and in this case it's manager and supervisor instead of salesperson, but same concept. Is they get something that says, here's your meeting agenda. And not only here's your meeting agenda, but here are links to the reports that will give you the information that will help you have the conversation. Okay? So we're not leaving it to them remembering or this kind of their interpretation of it, as they get it. And then we add energy. We have CAST. We'll schedule those meetings on a regular basis. It's applying the right amount of pressure at the right time. And as a result, what happens is everybody has meetings on schedule, they have the right information in front of them, and they have the right topics to cover. Okay? And what we've done is we've mitigated the loss of fidelity by capturing data and applying energy, and we've kept this process and the information in the process alive. Okay? I want to just mention, by the way, there's a video of this in case anyone, you know, if you don't want to take notes, don't feel like you have to.